So now we're going to start the last stage of 4. It's just the top stitching stage. We're going to put some tape down to help us guide where we're going to top stitch. So just putting that down into place. The important part is to get this top corner top stitched correctly, so that's why I'm pinning that, or gluing that first. I'm also going to glue the bottom because that's another important part, where this all joins at the bottom. Not glue, tape it. Okay. Knowing that where we're going to stitch is we're going to go across the top, down and around, across and up across the waist again. We're going to do it all in one rather than doing it in separately. Okay, once again, the parts that we need to watch are, see these end seams sneaking out. When we stitch them, we're going to have to push them back in out of the way. It's quite a bulky seam, as you can see. It's quite bulky in there. So we're going to have to give it a good old hammer to get that nice and flat, and then push that seam out of the way so that when we stitch down, yes, that's better. When we stitch down, it's all concealed. But yeah, you'll find as you're stitching along and going around, especially this top corner, because it's so bulky, it will want to move around a lot. So give him a good old hammer to make him sit nice and flat. Let's pull out our double-sided tape so that he can sticky that down on that side. Let's see what's going on here. Come on, boy. What you doing? Thank you. Sitting nice and flat. Stretched it down a little bit more. If he's not in the right place, just move him until you get him in the right place. Spend some time with this one because it's kind of important. And see that stitch line, that red stitch line that you can see from underneath, where you've actually stitched on your lining. Make sure you're concealing that and covering that. You don't want that to be shown and seen. So I'm still doing it wrong. What's going on, Tina? That's better. That's better. Pulling down. Let's see. The reason he's not sticking is because he's not undone. That's undoing and sticking down. Pulling down. That's better. Let's see. Make sure he's centered. Otherwise, that's not going to be a pretty sight either. That would be a recipient. No, it would be. Okay. Make sure he's centered over the bottom of that. Okay. All in place. I'm going to use my normal foot only because you shouldn't need to use your zipper. With this template that we've done, we're not going to be that close to our teeth that you should need to use your zipper foot. But if you were going to stitch really close to your teeth, like if you were going to end up stitching your leather right up close to your teeth like that, then you would need to probably use your zipper foot, depending on how thick your leather is. If your leather is quite thick and it sits higher than your teeth, you won't need to. So depending on how you go. So let's stick in there. I'm going to try and do an edge stitch all the way around. I'm going to actually start on my leather so that we get traction. Little back tack. It's bulky. And you can feel it when you go through this kind of layer, with these kind of layers, you can feel the bulk. Okay, so this is when, if anything, you hit anything hard, you're going to start breaking needles, and you can almost hear it because it chugs through a bit more. As I get up to this corner, I'm going to use my snips to poke in that seam, so when I turn my corner it's concealed. And when you're getting to really bulky stuff, you might have to walk your way through it. You can feel the resistance when you're pushing it through. Okay, if you are feeling too much resistance, it means you're going to have to get a bigger, thicker needle. Okay, but I should be able to get away with this one. Oh, see how it skipped a thread just there? I mean, skipped a stitch just then. It means that there was, I either went through sticky tape, or it was something underneath it didn't like. Once you've gone past, so I'm still walking because it's quite chunky because I've got my facing seam underneath and I don't want to break my needle. Once I've got him out of the way, then I can put my zipper back up. I'm going to go around that end, keep going all the way down. When I get to the end, let's see, there, walk him around the end. Make sure you're not going over that metal. You don't want to be stitching over that metal at all. Make sure you're absolutely missing it. I think I skipped another a stitch then. The machine's not liking this. And get close to that zipper head at the top. As if you make sure your needle's down in the fabric. Always when you lift up your foot, leave that zipper head out of the way. Make sure that seam is poked underneath and out of the way again. Okay, so when you come up to it. And like I said, that bulk, if you're going to feel like you're going to skip stitches or it's going to break a needle, walk your way through it so you can feel the pressure of what you're walking through. Do half a stitch more. That's better. Flicking around. Come on. It's really chunky. Wanting to stitch. That's better. Come on. Say for me, please. Okay, so that's just your top stitching all the way around. You do it all in one go. Okay. Mine not so good because it's not as consistent. You can see straight away that the tops are coming in. That this side here is probably more straight up. That side dips in a little bit. And you're trying to make those tops absolutely level as well as you go. And you can also see that when I glued my underneath point at the bottom here, that I haven't pushed it down and glued it down far enough. It's creeping out on me. Okay, so things to look for when you're doing it. When you flick it over to the right side, your stitching should be just on the inside of your lining. If, like mine has gone a little bit off, so you can see that I've stitched, or right on the edge of that lining seam there. Okay, all the way around, so it sits nice and neat and flat. Any questions about that?